My guest today brings a rare perspective. Architect Ezekiel Nya-Etok, who was the ADC governorship candidate in Akwa Ibom State in 2023. He's seen the inner workings of that party up close. Today, he serves as Executive Director of Estate Services with the Federal Housing Authority and is now with the APC, I suppose. What really happens when your former party becomes the face of the opposition, and what does the ruling party make of it? Architect, thank you so much for joining us on the program this evening. Let's go beyond the headlines. You ran under the ADC in 2023. Now it's the official face of the opposition coalition for 2027. What was your first reaction when you heard the news?
First, I want to make 1, 2, 3 things very, very clear. And one of them is that when you come to a seat in a position I'm in, you either speak as a politician or you speak as a nationalist. And I think I would rather be on the side of speaking as much as possible as a nationalist. I think that one of the best decisions that oppositions could have taken would have been to join the ADC under normal circumstances. Now, those normal circumstances mean that they have seen what I saw that made me to join the ADC, which is what they call the ADC DNA. But there's a marked difference in this situation. If I had had that the likes of Mr. Pat Utomi, the likes of Madam Obi Ezekwesili, likes of the people that the society perceives from a certain perspective, where the people going to the ADC, I would have seen the coalition of the alternative. Unfortunately, and sadly so, I am actually quite bothered about the people that are moving into the ADC to form the face of the ADC. So in politics, there are 2 things that are involved. One is a national consciousness to bring about a difference, and the other is politics, getting to where you can grab the substance, get what you want, and that's it, serving self-interest. This has happened to ADC before, and we forget a little too soon, and I was in the center of it all. Mr. Donald Duke came to me and said, I want to contest, and I need a platform. And I recommended the ADC for him. And he was able to put the party together and take it to former President Obasanjo, who had an endorsement, and almost the same group of people came to run on the platform of the ADC. For them, it was a platform. And somewhere along the line, one presidential candidate, I don't want to go into details, came to them and said, look, come back and run on my platform. I'm running for the presidency. I'll support you. And they just dropped ADC like that and went back. Just a handful remained, which was what almost came back to become empty. Why am I giving this background? It is, are we seeing people who are going into ADC on account of the ADC DNA, which emphasizes things like excellence, things like, professionalism, things like integrity? Or are there another group of Nigerians seeking a platform to achieve personal agenda? And right now, honestly speaking, between you and I.
Yes. I hear you clearly. A viewer just mentioned whether you meant Fela Durotoye, the name you wanted to mention earlier.
I mean, he's not going to he's a nice guy, he'll forgive me. Fela Durotoye, he's my guy.
I think he will. But you also make it sound like ideology is a thing with Nigerian politics, because you left ADC after all. I'm wondering what the issues were, perhaps internal politics or ideology, but it's never been about ideology for most politicians. It's about moving to the party that can guarantee a win at the polls, right? And it's the same thing with all of them from A to Z. So why is ADC different? Individuals who want to wrestle power from the ruling party looking for the perfect platform to achieve that goal.
I'll tell you two things. The first is that some time back, when I was giving this appointment, there are certain things about Mr. President that I think that people like us have been unfair to him. And I need to be able to start to change certain narratives. I want Nigerians to know that when Mr. President gave me this appointment, I was not his supporter. I was not in his party. So he had no basis to reward me with this, no basis whatsoever. But he said, I am looking for a professional that will make an impact in the housing subsector. And that's how I came in. And I was given the appointment in February last year. Up till July last year, I was a member of ADC in his cabinet, so to speak. And nobody ever put any pressure on me. It was like, face your business, perform for Nigerians. All I want is housing. Work on it. And God helped us. We had a good team. We went over 28 states of the Federation by road, and we did some work. But let me not lose track of what I'm trying to say. As a result, I tendered a resignation to ADC. And if you read my resignation letter, it was full of praises for the opportunity they gave me. So it wasn't that I had any problems with them. I just felt that I needed to get politics off the way completely. And I remained apolitical, so to speak, until December, the 3rd of December. That I just sat and had discussions with my family and said, there is this man, Mr. President, who had confidence in me. And up till now, almost a year after, he's never put any pressure on me. He was looking for excellence. As a result, I think it's only proper that I should put in not just my professional competence to show him gratitude, but to get into his party where I'll be able to work from both sides, but putting my professional excellence first. That was when I went to join APC. And I did that very quietly, and because for me, Mr. President didn't give me this appointment as a politician. He gave me this appointment as a technocrat. And I think the worst disfavor I could do to him is not to perform, because then tomorrow I would have closed doors to other professionals that are given opportunity. But I want people to say, look at Nya-Etok was brought in as a professional and he was able to work. The minister that believed in me.
Yes.
Yes.
I hear you, and I'm sorry I had to break in, but I just wanted to follow up quickly on your thought, because it's perhaps the same reason why certain individuals have followed Atiku and followed Peter Obi and Rotimi Amechi and the likes of Nasir El-Rufai to the ADC, because they have individuals there that they believe in, who perhaps they have worked with or who used to be their political benefactors. But I want us to dig in a little deeper, because we've heard Peter Obi saying this coalition is a rescue mission. On the contrary, Nyesom Wike is saying he isn't going anywhere in 2027. Who do you think is actually reading the political room better? Because we have a coalition that has two individuals between them who had 13 million votes in 2023 that could easily have won that election.
I'll tell you, statistics is something that you can use anyhow and any way you want to use it. The first thing is that in politics, yesterday can make a whole lot of difference between then and now. Two things stand out. The very first is that if we were to have a coalition, what you put before everybody first is essence. Why do we want to do this? When Nigerians interrogate your essence, they will go to the second part, which is, the people behind it. They will look at those two. You see, Mr. Peter Obi came with a certain wave, okay? And you can't deny that, because I'm not going to sit down here and say things I don't believe. Mr. Atiku came on not just his person, but his platform, which is the PDP. The PDP is or has been an institution. Forget that they lost power. So by the time you have Mr. Peter Obi, he had a certain following which had to do with his ideology, his person, that Mr. Atiku came with a party. I personally believe that, because I can say that Mr. Peter Obi came with nothing, and yet he amassed a following. But even if I contested on the platform of PDP or anybody, they will make a good showing, as at the last time in PDP. So when you carry those two and put together, the understanding is that the following of Peter Obi and the institution of PDP are coming together. In this coalition, they are not. They are not. They are not coming together. So adding 6 million and 8 million to get this 13 million as against 8 million is not good mathematics for the politics of today.
And they probably have to also first answer the question of who is going to step down for who. But they say that asking it way too early, especially when you consider...
No, it's not way too early. Let me tell you something about politics. Politics is an emotions game in Nigeria. Politics is an emotions game in Nigeria. And why do I say so? By the time that you think that you are dealing with robots, that you can just say, stop, turn, and then they stop and turn, it's not going to work that way. We have two people who should have concentrated on building a coalition, in building faith, in building belief, in selling hope, in making Nigerians see an alternative. And then so their vision is on the alternative. And then they now get to the final point and they're like, okay, who do want to use this or that to do? They are driven by the alternative concept. But today, unfortunately, they've started early to say, I am for Paul, I'm for Apollos, I'm for Peter, I'm for Paul. Do you understand me? And that now brings the people to start to see the possibility of their principal being the president, and they start to move on that direction. And you think you can just one day say, stop, turn, follow this man, follow that person. I think they've started on the wrong foot, my very honest opinion. And as a result, even if tomorrow they are going to say, you step down for the other person, there's going to be a problem. The coalition has certain technical, challenges as at today. One is they have not defined the essence. I said something and somebody took it up. I didn't think about it when I said it, but thinking about it, I think it's something that every Nigerian needs to hear, especially the coalition or the opposition. People are hungry is not a manifesto. People are hungry is not a manifesto. So when opposition wants to ride on the back of people are hungry, you're just telling me what is the obvious. You've not told me who you are, what you want to do, and Nigerians are wiser than that today.
Well, is it also possible that you are playing down on the power of welfarism and the economic alternative that might be quite beneficial for many Nigerians who feel the shoe where it pinches?
I say this with every sense of responsibility. We were in a meeting and somebody said something instructive. He said that the opposition does a marathon, the man in power does a dash. What were they cutting across? Please continue to work. Don't get caught by the politics and the distraction. Continue to work. And I loved that at the highest level, we could be called to say, don't take the people for granted. Work and work and work, and when we want to do a dash, let us dash on the platform of the results that we have brought together. And I like Mr. President for giving us such a very instructive warning. Please don't take the people for granted. Continue to work, continue to work, continue to work so that by the time we come into the politics, we will have something to present to Nigerians.
All right.
I am not the least unaware of the sentiment as at today, but I also know that Nigerians are forward thinking. And that means that we will continue to work. I'm in the housing subsector. I've just come from a very crucial meeting. A lot of times people are like, oh, we haven't seen. You know, if you are a woman that's pregnant, it's going to take about 6 months. A pregnant lady, you may not even know that that lady is pregnant. But the lady's got to know that she is pregnant because there are certain things she cannot do. Her body may seem the same, but a time comes when it has to start to show. What are we saying? Like in housing, we are laying certain foundations. We've been able to get 1, 2, 3. I didn't come here for a report on that. Next time that we're coming, I would like to talk. I just want to lay certain basic fundamentals and principles for Nigerians who are objective to see certain things and move along. What am I trying to say? I think that from December, there are certain signs that will start to show that we'll see what this current administration has been doing. But I don't think we need to wait until then. We need to let the people know. I'll just end with this illustration. 2 people were building. A certain man was building a 3-bedroom bungalow. Another man was doing a 6-story building. Now, the person that was doing a 3-bedroom bungalow, within 3 months, they were going into roofing and everything. 4 months, he was plastering and everything. In the 5th month, he was moving into the house. Meanwhile, the person that was doing a 6-story building, by end of 3 months, he is still piling because of where it was. It wasn't a normal foundation. It had to be a pile foundation. And all the people passing on the road, all they kept hearing was poem, 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 the piling. And everybody said, what sort of rubbish is this man? They've seen the other man's house. He's living in his house. And this guy is just sitting in the ground. Now, the man early enough needs to communicate. He has 2 positions he could take. He was like, don't worry. When we get there, they go see him. You may not get there on time.
Indeed.
But if he communicated to the people, gentlemen, we have little land. We cannot just build a bungalow that only one family will stay. We need to go utilize this land and build a higher structure. So it's going to take us 1.5 years to be able to, these are the stages. We have to do the piling, from the piling,
I believe that
so let me just conclude on this.
Okay, please do.
It matters that you carry the people along. It matters that this administration communicates constantly on why we are taking certain decisions. There are certain decisions that have been taken that are not, in my opinion, properly communicated to the people. And it is very easy for the opposition to say, nothing is going on, nothing is going on. But I can see a certain strategic line of thinking of Mr. President. He's not perfect. I'll be the last person to say so. But I can see a leader who is willing to take hard decisions to lay a sustainable foundation.
Mr. Nya-Etok, ADC is already now talking about a plot by elements within the Tinubu administration to destabilize the opposition coalition. They say there's now a meeting between, chairmen across the states to cook up something against this coalition. How do you respond? Because you are now a party member yourself.
Yes, 2 things. 2 things I can tell you deep down inside ADC. I am one of the most competent persons to talk about the ADC. It has nothing to do with opposition. It has nothing. I can tell you that. Mr. President's hands are not here at all. We had a problem when we were running the last elections. And that problem cost us so much in that election because there were 2 factions that were not reconciled. These 2 factions were not done by the opposition. I can tell you that for free. And unless the coalition had resolved those concerns, they are going to realize that they are building on something where the foundation is faulty. And it has nothing to do with opposition. It has nothing to do with the president. It has something to do and everything to do with what has been that was not resolved, that they had to take up to the Supreme Court. That wasn't from the opposition. That was not from Mr. President or APC. It's an internal issue of ADC that needs to be resolved, and opposition or the coalition seekers need to understand this very clearly. Finally, I'll say this. we ought to communicate things to the people. We owe the people to let them know what we are doing and not to take them for granted. We also owe ourselves not to take anybody for granted, but to push out what we know we have. We have things to say. We have things to sell. It is for us to communicate these things, awesome things to the people.